Hello, my wonderful friends. Glad you could be here with me today. I'm so excited to share this video with you, and we will get right to the content in just a few minutes. Make sure that you are reading the descriptions below the video. So once this video is ended, read more about some of the content in the description below, because I often put a lot of stuff down there and I want to make sure and draw your attention to that. And make sure to stay to the end of the video because I'm going to talk about a few other things as well, okay? This is a book tag video, and I was tagged in this video by Geek on My Sleeve. They are a booktube channel that I follow, and those guys are pretty awesome. You want to make sure and check them out. This is a book tag that was originally created by Dylan's Book Nook, and I'll leave a link to his video in the description as well, a link to his channel, if you will, and make sure that you check out his stuff as well. The book tag is the Reading Habits book tag, and it's a series of questions designed to help you talk about your reading habits. And so you will see a question on the screen, and this is a question as if a second person is asking me questions about what I like to do in terms of my habits with reading books. So let's get right to it, and we'll start with this first question here. Do you read at home or everywhere? I read everywhere I can get a chance. I might be at the doctor's office. I might be in the car waiting for somebody to come out of a doctor's appointment. I might be at the local coffee shop, or at the library, or at home. Right now I'm pretty much always at home, as we all are, I think, or most of us are. So I've got a lot of time to read at home, but I will read everywhere and anywhere that I get the chance. So that is just how much I love books. It doesn't matter where I am. I typically do always have a book with me. I read ebooks as well. So, you know, I've always got my phone with me, and I've got the Kindle app on my phone. So I always have opportunities to read, and I usually don't make excuses not to read. Did that sound? Yeah, that came out right. Do you eat or drink while reading? Yes, I do. I will eat and drink wherever and whenever I might be reading. If it's time for me to eat, yeah, I will have a book with me a lot of times. It might be just on my phone. It might be a physical book. Now that's a little bit harder to do because, you know, you kind of have to hold it open. So I'll be munching a sandwich with one hand or some chips and trying to hold the book up with one hand. It gets a little challenging, but hey, I've got my reading goals and I love to read. So yes, I do. Oftentimes at the end of a day, if I happen to have a nice bottle of wine in the house, I'll pour a glass, sit down on the sofa, and just enjoy relaxing and sipping a glass of wine while reading. That's one of my favorite pastimes. Do you have a certain place at home for reading? I typically read on the sofa. Sometimes I read here in this chair that I'm sitting in. Sometimes I will sit out on my patio and read as well. But I really, really like to sit on my sofa in my living room. That is where most of my reading is done. Now, I do read when I'm working. I work in a call center, so in between calls, if it's slow, I'll pick up my book and I'll read. I have some books on my work desk as well. And I do work from home, so that's easy access to my books. Yeah, I know. I'm reading while I'm working. Don't tell on me, okay? It's our little secret. Do you read one book or several at a time? Oh, my girlfriend often teases me about this. My girlfriend tells me I'm a magical unicorn because I can read several books at once. I can put one down, pick another one up. I can come back to the one I put down, pick up right where I left off, and pretty much every single time I remember exactly where I was. And I actually have 5 books going right now, if you count audiobook as well, because I have 4 physical books I'm reading and 1 audiobook that I'm reading. So yeah, I always have at least 3 books going, and sometimes more, depending on the need and depending on what I've got going on. So I guess I must just be that magical unicorn, although I'm missing the horn. Has anybody seen my horn? If you find my horn, let me know in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it being returned, because I've missed it so. Can you stop reading, or do you have to stop after a certain number of pages or at the end of a chapter? I really, really like to finish a sentence at least, or finish the page that I'm on, but I can stop pretty much anywhere that I have to. So if something important comes up, I'm going to drop the book and go do whatever's important, and then I can come back to my book at a later time. Now, if it's a certain level of importance, but it doesn't have to be done right that second, I will finish the sentence or the paragraph that I'm reading, and then I'll go do that certain something. I do like to get through a certain section of dialogue if I can. That is my preference, and it's easier if I can come to a page break or at least the end of the page, and that way I kind of remember more where I left off. But if I have to stop, I have to stop. So that's life, right? How do you mark your spot? Matey, I mark my spot with an X. Arr. Oh, I don't know where that came from, guys. I'm sorry. I must have had one of those piratey moments that flared up there. I occasionally get those flares where I like to talk like a pirate, so please forgive me. I don't mark my spot with an X. I use a bookmark, and it doesn't have to be a real fancy bookmark. I like fancy faux leather bookmarks, or plastic bookmarks, or paper bookmarks. As long as I have a bookmark to mark my spot, I really don't care what it is, or what it looks like, or how cool it is. But I do like fancy bookmarks too, though. I do not dog-ear my pages. I personally think that you are a book barbarian if you dog-ear your pages. But if you are said book barbarian, I love you, I appreciate you, and I respect you. Enjoy your barbaric ways to the fullest, and please just keep enjoying reading. No judgment here, I promise. But and there's nothing wrong with being a book barbarian, right? I don't do that myself. I don't like to dog-ear pages. There's just something about it that I like a clean corner to a page. Do you read out loud or silently in your head? I typically read silently. If I have to go back and reread a sentence and try and think through it more, if I didn't really understand it or quite grasp what it was saying the first time, I may read it out loud, but I would still read more silently, like a whisper level. I don't necessarily read out loud. Now, I used to read out loud with my kids with certain books. We would read a book together, and I'd be reading to them when they were younger and things like that. And we talked about doing something like that again, where we all read a book together and sit down and just enjoy reading it out loud. But when I'm reading by myself, I typically read silently. Multitasking. Do you listen to music or TV while reading? I do not like to listen to music or TV while I'm reading. Sometimes I have to, we have a common living room that my kids and I share, and they might be playing video games while I'm reading, so I do often find myself reading when there's distraction in the background, but it's not something I prefer. I do listen to music sometimes when I write, because it helps me think and get into the moment. I'll listen to more fantasy music when I'm writing my stories and things of that nature. But when I'm reading, no, I don't purposely put on music or TV to have on in the background. But if it just so happens that that's my only choice when I'm reading, then I just run with it. I'm not too picky about it, I guess. Now, occasionally I will sit down and I'll turn on the digital fireplace on the TV when I'm reading, just kind of that background white noise, and the fireplace is really relaxing, and it gives you that feel of the moment of being in front of a real fireplace and reading a book and cozied up on the couch. So I do enjoy that. So some noise I don't mind when I'm reading. Do you read ahead or skip pages? No, I don't really read ahead or skip pages. When I'm reading certain books of short stories, if I'm not really into a short story, I will sometimes skip the story altogether because I'm just not really getting into it and I'd rather not waste my time. But with regular novels, I typically don't skip ahead. If it's a book that I've already read once and I'm rereading it, I might skip through certain sections that I remember enough of that aren't really key to understanding the story. I might skip through those, but generally I don't. With nonfiction, I will occasionally skim if it's something that I kind of already know and I've got a good grasp on and I want to find something that's more meaningful for me at the time. I might skim or skip ahead a little bit. But typically with nonfiction, I'm listening to audiobooks. It's rare that I have a physical book that I'm reading that's nonfiction. I have had books like that, but it's pretty rare. So for me, it's more important to grasp the information, and so I will get the audiobook because it's easier for me to process something that's not fantasy or fiction related. Break the spine or keep it like new. Sacrilege! Why would you break the spine? These are beautiful books. They're meant to be cherished and cared for and loved and held gently. And okay, I'm not that obsessive. No, I do have a few spines that have little creases in them, and they've been well worn and well read, but I don't have any that I've necessarily broken the spine on, unless the spine was just really in bad shape to begin with, like it wasn't made well, and I've had books like that. Then I will have some of those. But generally, I take really, really good care of my books. I like the way the books look, and I like the way they look on my shelf, and I don't like them to be in really, really poor shape. Now, that being said, I don't judge people if they do have really beat up books, because, they enjoy books, and that can be a sign that a book has been well loved and well read. So I don't fault anyone for that or judge anyone for it, but I personally do not like to break the spine. I prefer an intact spine. Now, there is one time that I was really, really bothered. I let someone at work borrow my original copy of Ocean at the End of the Lane. And that was a huge mistake. I shouldn't have done it to begin with. I should have known, because it's my favorite book, and I should have maybe had a second copy of it to loan out or something like that so the original wouldn't get damaged. But when they got it back to me, it was just absolutely destroyed. They kept it in their backpack with all their other stuff, their laptop and things like that, and it was just absolutely destroyed. The spine was mangled, some of the pages were torn, it had some coffee spilled on it. I was devastated. Oh man. So yeah, I for that reason I don't loan books out anymore unless I know that it's someone who takes just as much care of their books as I do, then I might consider it. And the key word there is might. So yeah, I was devastated by that. I moved on. I did get myself another copy, and now I've got the illustrated edition, which I'm not loaning that out. That book is never getting loaned out. So yeah, don't ask. It's not happening. I like to keep them intact. And that was a very long-winded answer to that. If you thought that was too long-winded, let me know in the comments. If you thought it was just right, or maybe not enough, let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. I tend to ramble when I get passionate about a subject. The final question. Do you write in your books? No, I don't. I prefer to make notes other ways. I will keep some notes on my phone about it. If it's something I really want to remember from a particular section of a book, I'll pop over to Goodreads because I keep track of what I'm reading there, and I'll make an update with a sentence that I wanted to remember or a thought that I had about that particular part of the book. I will put it there. When I'm reading ebooks, it's kind of nice because I can make notes right in the ebook just by highlighting it, and it'll pop up with a note feature. So that's kind of cool, and I will use that. But I don't like marking up my books with pen or pencil. I tried at one point when I was in college with some of my textbooks to like highlight or make notes or things, and it never really worked for me. It was given to me as a method to help me learn, but I don't know. There was just something about it. I didn't click with writing in books, so I just stopped, and I've never done it since. So that concludes the reading book tag. I would very much like to thank Geek on My Sleeve for tagging me in this adventure, and to Dylan's Book Nook for creating the reading book tag. I will leave links to their channels down below and at the end of my video, so make sure to check them out. And I will be tagging some other YouTubers, so if you are another booktuber and you would like to participate in this tag, if I haven't tagged you, please feel free to jump on this and tag me and let me know that you completed this reading book tag so I can watch it and get a window into your world. And if you would like to let me know what your reading habits are in the comments below, maybe you're not a booktuber, but you have some of these same reading habits, or you have different approaches to these questions, let me know in the comments. I would love to interact with you and hear from you there. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss out on my future videos, and make sure to hit the notification bell so that you get notifications about my videos as well. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. I would love to have your support, and make sure to share with your friends so they see my content too. Make sure that you're reading the descriptions at the end of my videos, because there are links down there. There's links down there for ways that you can support me, whether it's Patreon or following me on Facebook or whatever that might be. Follow me on Instagram. You can reach me at various different places there. Those links are all in the description below. So I've always got lots of content down there for you to peruse. And as always, my friends, please make sure that you are reading more books. I will talk to you in the next video. Have a great day.